Montipora, or Monties as we often call them in the hobby, are an excellent coral for hobbyists looking to take that first foray into the world of SPS. While some Monties have higher energy requirements than other corals like Softies and LPS, they're certainly more forgiving than most other SPS corals. Let's go over a few tips and tricks to make sure you have instant success with your Montiporas. Monties come in many different colors, and there are several subspecies which have different growth patterns. There are plating varieties, encrusters, and even branching Monties. There are no major differences in difficulty with most of these varieties, but it is essential to make sure you are picking a healthy frag to begin with. Montipora are generally very fast growers, so it makes sense to look for frags that are already well encrusted on the plug. Avoid Monties that look pale or brownish, as these can be signs of poor health. Inspect for any visible pests like nudibranchs or other hitchhikers. And lastly, look for adequate polyp extension for varieties that have larger polyps. Acclimating Monties is a very straightforward process. Typically, we recommend just floating the bag in the tank to match the temperatures of the water. Some people will recommend a slow drip acclimation for all SPS corals, but we've never seen any benefits from doing this with Monties. Many of these Monties have been aquacultured in the hobby for decades, so they're about as hardy as any coral you're going to come across. We highly recommend that you dip your Montiporas for pests, especially when introducing them to the tank. Montiporas don't have a ton of common pests, but the ones that they do have can be devastating. Most notably, Montipora-eating nudibranchs are the main culprit to beware of. They can decimate a large colony in a matter of days, and even dipping does not affect the eggs. If you find yourself battling a pest like this, it's important to understand that animal's life cycle and how to best interrupt it. Several dips will be required to eradicate all adults and freshly hatched nudibranchs. Most Montipora are very adaptable to different lighting and flow conditions, so it makes them a great candidate for placement just about anywhere in the aquarium. Generally, Monties do well under medium to high lighting and medium to high flow. Some Monties may brown out under too high a par initially, so in a very bright acro system, for example, you may want to keep them in the lower thirds and then slowly move them up over time. Once your Montipora is settled in, they're basically maintenance free. In fact, once they start growing, the only maintenance they'll need is fragging. Keep that in mind when deciding where to place them. They will grow and encrust to just about anything. We've never seen any benefits from target feeding Montiporas in our systems. They do have polyps, but I've never observed an actual feeding response from those polyps. That being said, we do assume that most corals can benefit from some light broadcast feedings of small particulate foods. As we learned earlier, Montipora is generally a very fast-growing coral. If you keep Monties, chances are you're going to get used to fragging a little bit. For the encrusting varieties, it's really only feasible to frag them using a bandsaw. Both plating and branching types, you can usually just break pieces off with a slight bit of pressure, as they're typically fairly thin and brittle. Just put a dab of glue on the frag plug and stick the coral on there, and you're all done. Now it's time to just sit back and watch them grow. Hopefully this video has given you some useful tips that will help you on your journey with Montiporas. If you have any questions at all, throw them down there in the comments. We're always happy to help. Now let us know what coral species we should do on the next video. Thanks for watching.